A major makeover nearly complete,
It's really the front door of Seattle.
transforming the Emerald City landscape.
This is by far the most transformative project we've seen in Seattle since the World's Fair.
Front and center, the Seattle Aquarium's Ocean Pavilion.
We feel a little bit like Willy Wonka opening the gates to the chocolate factory.
Bringing the Amazon of the ocean to Elliott Bay.
You're gonna feel like you just went diving in a building.
Hey everybody, we are giving you a view you will not see anywhere else. This is the brand new addition to the Seattle Aquarium, the Ocean Pavilion. This incredible building is giving our entire waterfront a whole new look.
Now, this is part of a makeover that will change the city and all of the Puget Sound region in the eyes of the world. And we get to bring you a perspective that no one else has yet. And look where we are. Hello, everybody.
For the next hour, we're going to show you this crown jewel of the waterfront and what it means to our region.
Cairo 7 News, live at 4.
Hey, you know what? We are the only station in town giving you exclusive access to the new crown jewel of the Seattle waterfront right now. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Monique Minglavin.
And I'm Gary Horker, and I am really happy to be up here with you today. A beautiful day. So we're going to tell you what's in this for you.
Yeah.
Well, we're breaking down all the cool new critters calling Seattle home. How much is it going to cost you to get you in? We're going to answer that question. And all of the big changes happening around us right here from the top of the roof down to the waterfront.
There are so many changes, and right now we're standing on top of the brand new signature landmark along the Seattle waterfront. It is gorgeous.
Yeah, inside, it's an oceanic immersion. Just take a look at this. There is marine life in every single corner you look, and it's an underwater view along every single wall. The Ocean Pavilion is bringing the so-called Amazon of the ocean right here to the Pacific Northwest, to us. It's home to 3,500 animals and plants you can find in the tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific Ocean. This upgrade, and Monique, you got to be here. We got to tell people how great this is.
Yeah.
It's enormous for the nearly 50-year-old aquarium. And back outside here, this renovation is actually only one part of the new Seattle waterfront.
It is an incredible makeover. It's hard to believe just 5.5 years ago, cars were driving along the Alaskan Way Viaduct right where we're standing right now. So the freeway closed. That was back in 2019, with demolition finishing up in 2020 as part of the billion-dollar Seattle waterfront project. At its peak, we're talking about around 100,000 cars use the viaduct every day. Now the area looks awfully different, from a revamped Coleman dock to a new waterfront park. Oh my gosh, so much change. There's plenty of public space as well, with the backdrop of the Elliott Bay. Gorgeous.
It is. Oh my gosh, and what a day to show this place off. Here along Pier 59, this new 50,000 square foot building below us, below our feet here, is just adding to the excitement. Now, we have team coverage for you live at 4. Our chief meteorologist, Morgan Palmer, has got a day out of the studio, and Cairo 7's Madeline Ottley is live inside the Ocean Pavilion.
So, Madeline, Mayor Bruce Harrell and also Governor Jay Inslee, they spoke about the importance of conservation. But you actually spoke with a world-renowned oceanographer and marine biologist who's been working on this project for years.
Right, she is hoping that this new facility inspires the next generation of leaders, and it has been so busy, so crowded as eager visitors come through these doors today. We are told there's been about 4,000 so far. And check this out behind me. You can see how many people are admiring this, which is the largest new habitat in this pavilion. It's called The Reef, a major viewpoint, and right as you first walk in on this first floor, The pavilion includes 3,500 animals and plants, including Indo-Pacific leopard sharks, eagle rays, and more. This has been a project that has been years in the making, and hundreds of state and local leaders came together this morning to officially open the doors. Our very own Dee Dee Sun emceed this event, where we heard from tribal leaders, Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell, and Washington Governor Jay Inslee. The keynote speaker, world-renowned oceanographer and marine biologist Dr. Sylvia Earle, who's long been involved in this project. She hopes this space inspires the next generation of people who can make change to help conserve and protect our ocean wildlife.
It's that interaction that it's hard to describe. It's what makes aquariums of the 21st century critical places of not just learning, but of inspiration.
Now, that was a message that was driven home today by also many state leaders. You're going to hear directly from them still ahead tonight at 5. For now, reporting live inside the Seattle Aquarium's new Ocean Pavilion, Madeline Ottley, Cairo 7 News.
Thanks a lot, Madeline. Now, the opening of this magnificent ocean pavilion, it is a testament to the power of long-term planning to build really a world-class attraction.
You know, this building was built with not only planning, it was built with partnerships, powerful ones, between taxpayers and private donors as well. And this building is all about teaching future generations about the ocean's future, which is also our future, by the way. But a long time before this building and a long time before the Seattle Aquarium existed, this city had a very strange history with sea life. Check it out. To build the Ocean Pavilion to last for generations, millions of pounds and miles of rebar lining the reef habitat is way beyond what you'd find in tall skyscrapers.
History is literally going up in front of our eyes.
But Seattle historian Felix Bonnell reminds us, long before the real Seattle Aquarium was ever a concept to teach conservation, profiteers lured tourists here to Seattle, and they used sea life to make a fast buck. In the mid-1930s, a post-Civil War era clipper ship was a floating museum where for a dime you were promised a small display of seeing sea life from Puget Sound. Then there was the Frozen Fish Museum, 2,000 fish frozen solid. Somehow this oddball attraction stayed open for 30 years.
Ivor Hagelin, famous for his clam chowder and fish and chips, the first thing Ivor did was put in an aquarium.
Long before Seattle showman Ivor Hagelin ever sold a single cup of chowder, his big business idea was what he called an aquarium on the waterfront.
Ivor was inviting people to look at like octopuses in a fish tank, and those people he sold fish and chips and chowder to. The fish and chips and chowder came second. First was the aquarium, and it morphed into a business selling fish and chips.
Ivor charged a nickel to show sea life, but Felix said it was a sideshow.
Ivor would do things like take a baby seal and put it in a baby carriage and push it around the city to try to generate publicity for his business.
In 1962, when the World's Fair attracted millions of visitors, businessman Ted Griffin cashed in by opening a for-profit marine aquarium, which took a dark dive in 1965.
Orca, a killer whale, is captured by mistake up off Vancouver Island. Gets caught in some fishermen's nets. Griffin buys it, builds a floating pen, tows it all the way back to Seattle. TV stations are doing remote shots from up on Strait of Juan de Fuca to try to get footage of this whale coming to town because no one had ever successfully had a whale in captivity.
They named him Namu. They charged people to watch him caged in a pen in the waterfront. Hollywood filmmakers quickly moved in and made a movie starring Namu as a character. People protested, demanding Namu's freedom.
Unfortunately, before that movie can open to the public, Namu has died of a bacterial infection.
An infection reportedly caused by raw sewage, which was, at the time, polluting Elliott Bay. Having learned from all those dark decisions, Seattle city leaders offered a brand new, better way. Voters approved a 1968 tax to build a real nonprofit aquarium, building a new relationship between Seattle and the sea for the next 100 years.
There was a very strong ethic here in the 50s and 60s and 70s, even into the 80s, to invest money in things that people would benefit from for decades to come. And the aquarium fits right into that mix.
Now, Felix says this new ocean pavilion shows how a city can transform an attitude while transforming a waterfront and educating millions of people on the power of preservation instead of profit.
Cities that don't change are the ones that you forget about.
I love the way Felix Pinnell put that,
Yeah.
Monique. And the cities that don't do the right things are the ones you forget about. This is all about progress. And speaking of progress, we want to show you an amazing view.
And absolutely. We have a second camera here. We're going to go to that to show you what an incredible view you get from this rooftop that you can only see on Cairo 7 for now. It's eventually going to open to the public, but that's in October. So as we spin around, boy, look at that. You see the beautiful water, also the mountains, everything that we know as home. But boy, through what a lens. And as we spin back around, we see again Belltown. And as we're going to keep on turning, you're actually going to see how the top of this aquarium hooks up with also the market. And you're going to be able to walk directly from the rooftop here all the way over to the market, which, Gary, we know you haven't been able to do.
No, you're completely obstructed and blocked by the old viaduct, the old over-under monstrosity. That's all gone now, and now it's all going to be connected. As you see, that's the market right there. You'll be able to walk from there to right where we're standing.
Absolutely. And again, this is going to be free for everybody, but not until October. So it's only through our camera right now that you can enjoy it. But for now, let's get over to Morgan Palmer. He's back inside the Ocean Hall right now. Morgan, thank you so much for the weather today.
This is awesome, Morgan.
And you're outside and I'm inside. How does that work? But this is great inside the Ocean Hall, and we're right at the archipelago, which has a mangrove forest, and that is also right above a reef with a lot of fish there that people can come and see how the fish interact, including goatfish and other fish from the Indo-Pacific region, interact with the mangroves, which are a very, very important part of the marine ecosystem, and they can actually exist in salt water, whereas most plants cannot. It's a beautiful day outside today, a beautiful day to be inside as well, and it's going to be a fantastic Labor Day weekend. Let's go ahead and go outside to Seattle right now. Mount Rainier, the mountain, is out on this Thursday afternoon. Beautiful high temperatures in the 60s, in the 70s, I should say, at 80 in Olympia, 81 in Chehalis. Now, the Pinpoint Storm Tracker shows the promised area of high pressure, our force field against big storms, building across the west coast. That's going to continue over the next few days. So finally, summer's back after more than a week of chilly weather. More 80s tomorrow. We're going to have a sunny Saturday, a little bit cooler on Labor Day, but still, it's going to be a fine 3-day holiday weekend for so many folks before a lot of kids go back to school. I know we have a lot of kids who have gone back to school this week. A lot of kids roaming through here. There's something for everyone inside and outside here at the new Ocean Pavilion here at the Seattle Aquarium. I'll have a longer term look into your forecast and when we do turn a little bit cooler in a few minutes. Back to you upstairs.
Morgan, this is a perfect day of school if you're a school of fish.
Absolutely.
We are only scratching the surface of what Seattle Aquarium's new Ocean Pavilion has to offer.
Yeah, but of course, we're also covering all the news of the day as well. So let's get back to Aaron Wright and Elle Thomas back at the Cairo 7 studios. Hey, guys.
Hey, what a day to be outside. We're excited to check in with you guys again and see all the excitement happening down there.
You know, someone's got to keep it serious here. We'll check back in with you guys soon. Let's go ahead, take you now to an Idaho courtroom. That's where the attorneys for Brian Kohberger are pushing to get his trial moved. He's the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students. They say it's impossible to get an impartial jury in this close-knit college town of Moscow. They want the trial held about 300 miles away in Boise. Now, the gruesome crime happened in November of 2022 at an off-campus home. The trial, which could see Kohberger face the death penalty, is set to begin in June of 2025.
Seattle-Tacoma International Airport still trying to recover from an apparent cyber attack. Officials say they're making good progress in restoring all of the baggage systems, but they aren't in the clear just yet. The travelers who will notice the biggest impact this holiday weekend are international flyers. Also, those flying with Frontier, Spirit, Sun Country, or JetBlue. The airport says flight and baggage display boards are still down, so if you need help, look for airport employees wearing green.
And of course, we have just dipped our toes into the remote tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific region. And next, live at 4, we have the eye-catching entrance of the Ocean Pavilion, plus the cross-state effort to get this giant exhibit built.
And now to a fun fact about one of the aquarium's new animals, the spotted eagle ray. It can grow to be more than 16 feet long and weigh about 500 pounds. Stay tuned.
One of the coolest things by far of this entire new complex is right above my head, and the reef experience is right here at street level. I'm outside, and above my head is something they call the Oculus. That's a 16-foot wide portal where you could see sharks and rays and every other reef-dwelling fish from the outside of the building without paying admission. You see a 500,000-gallon exhibit up there, but if you do buy a ticket, you'll be immersed in the Ocean Pavilion experience, and that's where Monique Minglavin is up now, beyond the glass.
Yeah, Gary, so we're right on top of the eye right here, where you can actually come eye to eye with any of the 3,500 different animals, over 100 different species that are inside this vessel right now. We're talking about fish and sharks also. Yep, there he is. We don't know if that's the father or the son, but there is a father and son spotted eagle ray right here. And they're all able to live and move around in here naturally because of how this place is shaped. So let's take a little bit of a walk here. You can see it is circular right here so that they don't get stuck in a corner like I almost did there. You may know that sharks have to keep on swimming forward in order to just stay alive. And as you move around here, wow, you get exposed to all of these amazing looking points like this. And now Gary has made his way to the most spectacular one in the building to explain what allows you to get this amazing look into this world.
You know, one of the most amazing backstories I think I've ever heard relates to a big part of this building, and that is this clear, it looks like glass, but it's actually acrylic.
It's acrylic, yeah.
I'm joined by Tim here with the Seattle Aquarium. Tim, this is an astounding story, how they got this clear piece of acrylic to here from somewhere in Colorado.
Believe it or not, this giant piece of acrylic traveled here from Colorado late at night on a custom-built tractor trailer designed bespoke just to fit this window. And believe it or not, it is seismically incredibly strong. If there were to be an earthquake or anything around here along the waterfront, this is where I want to be because I've seen the amount of steel in this exhibit.
And the goal, Tim, is for people to not even know this is here and just notice what the life behind it. So
100%, yeah. It's designed to not see the acrylic, but actually to see through it into this underwater world and really imagine you yourself as a scuba diver or a snorkeler in this tropical environment to fully experience it.
So the most spectacular story is what you really can't see. It's all the life behind it, but how this acrylic got here. It's an urban legend, and it's all true. It's true. We'll send it back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Gary. Out here, in here at the archipelago within the Ocean Pavilion, so many different exhibits and so many things for kids to see and do. A great place to be this upcoming weekend. If you're going east, though, as we take a look at Leavenworth live right now, it is going to be a hot weekend. Leavenworth, beautiful place to be this time of year, really any time of year, but the heat advisory is out for this weekend. Highs in the 90s to near 100 east of the Cascade Crest. That goes all the way to eastern Washington. Back west of the Cascades, as we look live from the Emerald Queen Casino camera over I-5 in Tacoma. Beautiful blue skies. A perfect night is ahead. Warm with some sunshine out there tomorrow, a lot of sunshine. And a dry weekend is ahead. There is a little wrinkle coming up for Labor Day we'll talk about here in a moment, but Seattle's forecast hour by hour, 8 o'clock tonight, in the mid-60s. Not quite as cool as the last couple of mornings. We've had some chilly overnights. Still in the 50s early tomorrow morning. Highs on Friday, 81 in Seattle, 83 in Tacoma. Finally getting back into the 80s for the first time in a few weeks, but 87 in Chehalis. But check out the heat down through the Willamette Valley, 96 in Portland, 95 through the Dalles. It's going to be a hot one, especially farther south as this high pressure builds in. Now, once we get into Saturday, that'll be the warmest day for most of us in western Washington. 83 in Seattle on Saturday. On Sunday, a little bit cooler, a few more clouds. On Monday, more clouds, highs back in the 70s, but it looks like dry in the lowlands. We could have a mountain shower or a thunderstorm on Monday afternoon, Monday evening. We'll be watching that carefully, but we will have a lot more coming up here from Seattle Aquarium's new Ocean Pavilion here in just a few minutes. Elle and Aaron, I'll send it back to you.
I just had the best idea.
What's that?
You beat the heat, go to the aquarium. Done.
A combination of two great things. Going to be a great weekend ahead with us, Morgan. Thank you.
Well, still to come live at 4, the story of one of the species now calling the new Ocean Pavilion home.
Indo-Pacific leopard sharks are endangered, and in parts of their range, they're almost completely wiped out.
We're going to tell you how the Seattle Aquarium is now part of a global effort to restore that population.
And here's a fun fact about the Indo-Pacific leopard shark. Their pups are born with a dark stripe pattern, and as they get older, their pattern changes to dots and they get a lighter color. Stay tuned.
I'm at the ground floor of the amazing Ocean Pavilion, and there's a star of the show, which is also probably the future of an entire shark species. I'm joined by Dr. Aaron Meyer. Tell me about the leopard shark. He is the star of the show.
He is. So the Indo-Pacific leopard shark we have here in our care at Seattle Aquarium, in about 5 years, will join others around the world to help start producing eggs to help recover his wild counterparts in Indonesia.
This is an endangered species, to say the least, yes?
Yes, so Indo-Pacific leopard sharks are endangered, and in parts of their range, they're almost completely wiped out.
Doesn't have a name yet, but at some point we'll be calling him something.
We will. So he will get a name, and we're working with our staff at the aquarium right now to figure out what that name's going to be.
All right, well, not named yet, but going to be a father at some point and could be the future of the entire species right here on the ground floor.
It won't be Gary, I can tell you that. But we are just steps away from you, Gary, actually right now in the Coral Canyon. Take a look right here. You can see fish in here, also coral, and this area is really special. This gives you a really special opportunity to see part of this aquarium bloom. It is just starting to fill in right now. Take a look at this video that we got. We were here when they just started planting these coral within the last week. But this is a little trial and error here. They try them out in different spots to see whether the coral enjoy the spot. And if they do, they can leave them there, plant more. If not, they move them to a different spot to see if that works. So the question, how can they tell?
It's more of a body language. So yeah, they can't obviously speak or anything, but they are an animal. And we work with them enough to know what they look like when they're happy and thriving. The bubble coral is a great example. It opens up and almost just looks like a cluster of bubbles when it's really happy.
So take a look right here. These, they're pretty fluffy. You can see they're looking pretty happy. And again, this is going to gradually fill in. It's going to take some time. You will be able to witness it grow almost like a garden. They tell us that they hope in 2 to 3 years, you won't see any of the rocks here at all. It'll be covered with coral. And then, Aaron, when your little girls come in here, they can see the coral grow with them as well.
How exciting is that? It's so cool, and there's so much opportunity to grow. And remember, the education and conservation at the center of all this, and see it shared with people from all across the world. Monique, thank you. We're going to check in shortly. A whole lot more to see down there.
Hitting you in the feels with the girls there. Well, still to come live at 4, we do have more news headlines. Ongoing financial troubles for the Marysville School District could mean school closures.
30 students in each classroom. That's a lot for a teacher.
Next live at 4, the schools on the chopping block and how the district got here.
Plus, Indigenous influence at the new Ocean Pavilion, how the Coast Salish people helped shape the expansion's design.
And the goatfish, another new animal you can check out at the aquarium. They get their name from the barbels, which resemble whiskers on their lower jaw. They actually help them find prey.
Welcome back as Cairo 7's giving you a first look at the Seattle grand opening of Seattle Aquarium's new Ocean Pavilion. This beautiful new addition was designed in consultation with Indigenous peoples, and that includes glasswork by Lummi tribal member Dan Friday. You're looking at 33 hand-blown salmon that greet you and direct you inside.
It's one of our Salish values here at the Seattle Aquarium, honoring place.
The aquarium actually sits on the homeland of the Salish people who helped shape this place.
Yeah, and we're right up here on this stunning rooftop. It's open to the public this fall. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Monique Minglavin.
And I'm Gary Horker. Beauty, not just what you see out there, but it's what's up here.
Yeah.
These plants, you know a lot about these, Monique.
Yeah, they're gorgeous, and they are native to this area. They're indigenous to this land. That's why they're planted up here on this rooftop. Also the artwork as well. You're going to see these sandblasted images up on the rooftop. They represent the natural abundance of the area and the connection between people and the place.
The traditional lands of the tide flats here is where local people would go out and harvest clams and shellfish and all sorts of things. They say when the tide is out, the table is set.
I love that saying. And they're also looking at this as probably, Gary, the new Cary Park of the city, if you will. We gave you a look at the views from here. They're amazing. And just like the bottom of the Oculus that we showed you that you could look up to and see all the fish, you can be up here for free starting in the fall, though. Not yet.
This is something you would actually pay to do in any other
Yes.
city. It's a stunning perspective. We're going to toss back to the studio. Aaron and Elle, I understand you're keeping it down and we're doing some news today.
I mean, we're ready to go take a selfie at the Oculus there.
If you guys want us to come out there, switch places, let us know.
Love that.
No. We're good. You guys look great. Stay where you are.
We'll talk to you guys soon. Well, today could be the last first day of school for some schools in Marysville as the district continues to navigate years of financial issues. $17 million is this year's shortfall, and that's after state oversight of the district led to dozens of teachers laid off and middle school sports being cut last year. The district says levies that failed in 2022 are part of the issue, and already it cut millions in administrative costs this year. Still, Liberty and Cascade Elementary Schools and Totem Middle School could close next year if these problems continue. Tonight, there will be a special district board meeting to consider the options going forward.
In Skagit County, a tentative deal has been reached between paraeducators and the Mount Vernon School District. The main sticking point was wages. Some paraeducators told Cairo 7, despite decades of experience, they're earning less than $30,000. We don't have details on the agreement, but the union is voting on it now. The paraeducators went on strike earlier this week, canceling the first day of classes. We'll have an update for you on today's vote later this evening.
And still to come live at 4 with the aquarium expansion complete. That means the Seattle Waterfront project almost done.
This is by far the most transformative project we've seen in Seattle since the World's Fair.
Next live at 4, the final steps before the multi-million-dollar makeover is finished.
And here's another fun fact for you. Moray eels have 2 pairs of jaws. The second one is smaller with a complete set of teeth in their throat behind their normal jaw. Stay tuned.
Hey there, we're back here inside the Ocean Pavilion here at Seattle Aquarium, brand new, just opening today. A lot of folks coming through here. I think it'll be busy this weekend, but you know what? There's a lot of room to maneuver and get through these wonderful new exhibits here. We have some incredible weather. If you're heading down to the Seattle waterfront, let's take a look outside. High temperatures today, 74 in Everett, 71 in Bellingham. But this has been such an unusual month. In Seattle at SeaTac Airport, where the official observations are taken for Seattle, this will likely go down as the wettest month since 2015. Well, that's certain, and likely be the coolest August, I should say, since 2011. So the wettest August since 2015, the coolest August since 2011. There are some warmer days ahead, of course. Morning low temperatures are going to be in the 50s. Highs tomorrow, King County, 81 in Seattle, 81 in Tukwila, 82 in Sammamish. Only a little bit cooler right on the waterfront. We'll get a little bit of a breeze off the Sound in the afternoon. Beautiful day, Liberty Bay and Paulsbo. You'll be at 79. North Sound temperatures tomorrow afternoon, 80 in Mill Creek and Marysville, 77 in Stanwood. Now through the islands, upper 60s and lower 70s. And across the capital region and points south, though, this is where it starts to get toasty. Highs in the 80s, mid to upper 80s. Olympia through Chehalis, Grand Mound, and Centralia. The Pinpoint 7-day forecast, your weekend always in view. Warmest day Saturday, that could be close to 90 in some of the hottest areas of the south interior. A little cooler in time for Labor Day. Here back along the reef, just under the reef in the archipelago area, there are marine science interpreters coming through every few minutes, giving their observations and answering questions from kids and adults about all the new life forms that we're seeing here from the Indo-Pacific region inside the Ocean Pavilion. We're going to go back outside you guys.
Morgan, if I had a thermostat, a little bit of a breeze machine, and a dimmer switch, This is what I would order. So we appreciate your weather. Thank you so much, Morgan. And the expansion of the Seattle Aquarium is just one piece of a complicated puzzle, and you'll all make sense when you come down here, folks, when it comes to the revitalization of the waterfront and downtown.
Now, after years of work, Seattle is starting to see the results, and Cairo 7's Madeline Ottley has a look at what is to come.
If you haven't been downtown in a few years, you might be shocked by what this waterfront looks like now. And the work down here is still not finished.
Well, I will say this is by far the most transformative project we've seen in Seattle since the World's Fair.
And more than a decade in the making. A chain reaction to a decision made in 2009 to replace the former Alaskan Way Viaduct.
So I remember coming here, the width of the sidewalk would have been ending about here, and then the street was here and the viaduct was here.
The viaduct was such a massive barrier, between the waterfront and downtown.
15 years later, that barrier has given way to a reimagined waterfront. Construction began in 2019 and is set to wrap up next spring, costing in total more than $800 million.
Between the tunnel and the long-term investments, you're looking at over $4 billion of investment in this place.
It is the front porch of our city.
The project brings new improved public parks and piers and pedestrian bridges and paths.
Being able to have these sort of assets, it means we're bringing more people downtown.
That's something the Downtown Seattle Association has been closely tracking. DSA data shows tourists are coming back strong, but local visitors are returning at a slower pace.
Bringing people to the waterfront to experience this place, it's going to bring people to the other parts of downtown.
In October, the next key component will be complete.
People wanted that elevated view.
Overlook Walk, connecting Pike Place Market to the water below. But the real work is just getting started. Friends of Waterfront Park will activate the park with events and activities for years to come.
We all need to be connected to something deeper, which is the beauty of a place, but we also want to be connected to other people.
Madeline, thank you so much for that look ahead, but it's hard to believe that it gets any better than it already is.
No way. No way. This is a Chamber of Commerce day, and this is the crown jewel of Seattle. You got to take our word for it.
Exactly, but we actually have to travel now back to the Cairo 7 studios with Elle and Aaron for what's going on today.
They have to.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. You guys are out there just struggling out there in that perfect weather, the perfect spot, and seeing a really exciting thing for downtown.
Keep your chins up, guys. Well, still to come live at 4. There could be something deadly behind your refrigerator door. Next live at 4, the new warning from the CDC about the deli meat Listeria outbreak expanding.
The aquarium is one of the attention getters for this new waterfront park. Could this all be impressive enough to bring something like the Super Bowl here? We're talking about that next.
Small but mighty, this shrimp can pack a punch. What makes the Seattle Aquarium's newest resident surprisingly strong?
And our final fun fact for you, fish flock to mangroves, specifically the underwater habitat the tree's roots provide. They offer critical nursing environments for many marine species. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Cairo 7 News Live at 4. I've gone from the rooftop with Monique down to another exhibit where we're going to show you the inside of the Ocean Pavilion and kind of a kids area. This is a home to 3,500 tropical living things representing more than 100 species. Truly beautiful, stunning to the naked eye, and we're immediately blown away by this. That little portal there takes you into a kids area. Only kids can fit in there. But you can really dig in so much information about all the different plants and animals. Now we're going to go over here. There in one of these portals is a little bit of a shrimp. And see if you guys can push into that shrimp right there. If you make out two eyes above that, it looks like green flippers, only a couple inches tall right now. That shrimp is going to grow to 3 times that size. Small but mighty. Instead of claws, he has little clubs he uses to get food or defend himself. These clubs are lethal. He literally packs quite a powerful punch.
When they need to open a clam or a shell, or sometimes when a predator is trying to mess with them in their hole, they actually will hit things, and their clubs can, when they're adults, can be as powerful as a .22 caliber bullet. Now, it's not going to hit you like a bullet. It's going to hurt really bad. It doesn't pierce you or anything, but it can definitely break a finger if you mess with them.
Oh, I pity the fool that calls that shrimp a shrimp, Gary. But here we are back up on the roof right now, which gives you a great view of the waterfront development that packs a different kind of punch. This aquarium is in the middle of this 20-acre park that connects Belltown to Pioneer Square and onto the stadiums as well, and maybe even on to the rest of the world.
It's really the front door of Seattle.
This is what Seattle wants the world to see, so they look through that peephole and get lured squarely into our living room.
This is an open invitation to the world to come to Seattle and see everything here.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling.
Frasier, Singles, Sleepless in Seattle. Years ago, they introduced the city to much of the rest of the country, but lately, sports has been the wave we're riding. Visit Seattle says last year the MLB All-Star Weekend brought in $50 million to the area, plus oohs and ahs from about 7.5 million viewers.
Could not ask for a better day for baseball.
Then the Winter Classic, another 1 million eyeballs. And now we are reeling in the big fish.
And come on up to the 702.
The 2026 World Cup, it draws about 5 billion with a B global viewers. And we'll be hosting people from all over the world, a huge opportunity. And Seattle Sports Commission says the waterfront park will be crucial to its success.
So having the water side of it, all of the activities and attractions that are along the waterfront, these are the things that make it appealing for people to come and visit.
Seattle has the chance to sparkle for the world. The waterfront park is set for full completion next year. The World Cup will be hot on its heels. We do this right, other big events take notice.
They all of a sudden say, whoa, Seattle just hosted this premier sporting event. We know that they are capable of it. These visitors had a great experience. Let's bring our event to it.
Byron Murphy.
The Seattle Sports Commission is already eyeing this, the NFL draft. It brought in $214 million for Detroit last year.
With fans of all shapes and sizes.
You may be wondering, well, if Detroit can do this, why can't we? This NFL map shows our disadvantage. So here's Detroit right here, and within a 6-hour drive, they can pull from 6 different NFL markets. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and Chicago. Here's our problem. Here we are all by our lonesome, but this amazing waterfront could really make our case. And then perhaps the front door of Seattle will help open the door to the big daddy of them all. Do we dare say the S word as in Super Bowl?
We're just being patient to remind the NFL that we are capable of hosting an event like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But Monique, I've always heard one of the raps on Seattle, and the reason why we don't have the big dance of February, the Super Bowl, is because we don't have enough hotel rooms for everybody.
That used to be the case, but just like the rest of the city, that has certainly changed. I checked with Visit Seattle, and they say that we've added on another 33% more hotel rooms in the last 10 years. So we're at about 16,000 and counting. Pretty great.
That is amazing.
Lots of growth, lots of change, including this. The Seattle waterfront now also home to 2 of the largest outdoor murals in North America. You can see them right here. The 2 pieces of art were unveiled back in June in celebration of World Environment Day. The new murals are focused on urban and ocean ecosystems, really highlighting the importance of connecting cities to nature and water.
So let's check in with Morgan Palmer again inside the Ocean Hall.
Yeah.
Hey, Morgan, it's pretty nice up here. No complaints on the conditions at all. How's life where you live?
It's looking good all over the place, and we talk about Seattle sparkling with these new additions and the new waterfront coming, and so many things coming to this city. All of Western Washington sparkles on a day like this. Let's go outside Indianola, Kitsap County. Beautiful on the water today, west of the Sound, east of the Sound. From the Tulalip Resort Casino, the mountains are out, all of them today, and they will be all the way through the weekend. Into the holiday weekend, plenty of sunshine outside, warmer than average, so we're finally back to a more late summer summer-like weather pattern. Those late summer days when we can get back in the 80s, but it's not too hot. A few clouds Sunday and Monday. It'll be a little bit cooler by Labor Day. Not too cool just yet, and it looks like rain-free. The pinpoint 7-day forecast, your weekend always in view. The warmest day looks to be Saturday. Some spots approaching 90 south of Puget Sound. 80 in Seattle on Sunday, back into the 70s Monday and Tuesday, but check out Wednesday and Thursday. So even at the back end of the 7-day forecast, more summer-like weather. So we're saying goodbye to fall. It'll be back eventually, but we have plenty of time to come down to the waterfront and enjoy everything that this has to offer.
No, bye fall. We're going to say bye to fall for sure, Morgan. It certainly feels like summer up here. A beautiful afternoon on top of this new ocean pavilion.
We're going to go back inside one more time for one more beautiful dip into the waters of the tropical Indo-Pacific Ocean, where it's always 77 degrees.
It's absolutely perfect. Now, Elle and Aaron, we've had a great time out here. We do want you to come out here eventually, but right now, I think you need to tell us what's going on today.
Yeah. So they're inviting us now?
Yeah, an invitation for next time.
Oh, well, so thoughtful. Thank you, guys.
Again, we're going to be live at the new Ocean Pavilion all evening long. You can also find continuing coverage right now at KIRO7.com.
Some more news headlines for you, though. The CDC says at least 9 people have died and dozens have been hospitalized in the country's largest Listeria outbreak in more than a decade. Newly released federal records show USDA inspectors turned up nearly 70 violations at the Boar's Head plant in Virginia. Now, over the past year, that includes mildew and black mold, numerous insect sightings. The company has recalled more than 7 million pounds of deli meat, saying, quote, "Food safety is our absolute priority," and they immediately addressed all issues the inspectors raised. Sue Fleming became violently ill after eating her usual liverwurst sandwich. She was hospitalized for 9 days and spent another 11 in rehab.
I was concerned, literally, that my bones were going to fly out of my body. That's how violent the shakes were.
There's a human cost to this. When the food company, if they don't do their job properly, okay.
People die.
The couple is now suing Boar's Head. Listeria infections can cause flu-like symptoms, usually within 2 weeks of eating tainted foods. It is especially harmful to the pregnant, elderly, and those with weakened immune systems.
35,000 Providence patients with Aetna insurance could soon be without coverage. And those patients could lose coverage as soon as this weekend. Providence and Aetna are trying to work out a new contract. Providence says the main sticking point is the inflated drug cost. The health system says they've been eating the cost. If the deal's not reached, Aetna customers will be without coverage.
Well, access to affordable health care is a top concern for voters this fall. That's according to the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. It found roughly 80% of voters say a candidate's position on health coverage is important to them this November. Medical debt is another issue voters are paying attention to. More than half of people surveyed say they or a family member have experienced medical debt. Now, the poll also shows many voters support plans to lower out-of-pocket costs like copays and deductibles.
Well, stay out of the water at Palmer Lake and Key Peninsula. Health officials are issuing a toxic algae advisory. They say if you see algae, do not swim, water ski, or fish. A change in wind direction could also move the algae somewhere else in the lake. Health officials will inspect the water again next week. If the bloom is gone, that advisory will stay in place for 2 more weeks as a precaution.
Today marks the beginning of what SeaTac is calling the biggest Labor Day rush in airport history. But to make matters more complicated, some of their systems are still down after a suspected cyber attack. What you need to know to avoid the traffic next.
Tacoma police are looking for the driver who caused a collision right here and then sped off. We got video of that crash. We also hear from the victim's brother coming up.